It is week 10 of PFR on Lakeshore Public Television. Tonight, we get you ready for sudden death high school football tomorrow night in Northwest Indiana with some great matchups tomorrow night.
Exciting time of the year, Joe. You know, some kids will be putting on their basketball uniforms pretty soon, and some will be moving on.
Yeah, big night with some really good openers and sectional play. We'll have a preview of that. A lot more coming up next on PFR. Week 10, ready to start with looking at some team spirit results for week 9 of the high school football season. There it is. Valpo, some new blood, Wayne, 44%.
That's great. They've had some success these last couple of weeks, really having a nice job. Last week against Lake Central, 44%. And Lowell been consistent. They've been on in there. And Hobart, the same thing.
Valpo, our Team Spirit Award winner for Week 9. Time to look back at the top highlights of Week 9 of the high school football season with this week's PFR Rewind. Great rewind for week 9 of the high school football season. Now time to look into our players of the week for week 9 in high school football.
You know, this was just amazing. I thought when I heard this, Valparaiso's offense scored 19 points in 79 seconds in the second half, and then ended up scoring 26 in the fourth quarter to beat Lake Central. That was amazing.
Part of that was special teams too, recovering, I think, an onside. Noah Eaton was outstanding, over 4 bills last week in total yardage.
A huge upset at Boone Grove there.
Yeah, definitely was. Jake Lefevre getting it done, throwing the football.
And Dan Stanley from Munster had 3 TDs versus KV.
And running the football. Danny Stanley, who has snuck into that lineup now with the injuries that Munster's had, and playing well. How about some defensive players of the week?
You got to look at Monty White. Boy, oh boy, he had 2 interceptions. One he returned for 100 yards. That changed the game. for Holbert.
And Isaac Sahagan of Whiting had 7 tackles and 2 sacks in their big win against River. Special teams player of the week, Greg Scherzinger's been getting it done.
Oh, he has.
And he had an 85-yard kickoff return.
And then we have our 2 kickers. Jared Smolar, Valpo, a 31-yarder, and then Austin Chikaluski from Lake Central, a 32-yarder.
And the most important and most famous award to Tommy Davenport. I had no clue who he is.
No clue whatsoever. Me either. But he had 194 yards and 2 TDs against River.
Now he's a national celebrity,
right,
as is Skylar Thomas of South Central.
South Central's really come on, boy. 149 yards and 2 TDs for Thomas.
All righty, now it's time for the only poll that matters. The only poll they tune in for to see on Thursday night. It is the PFR Top 10 for Week 10. Wayne Lowell is now not only the #1 team in the only poll that matters, they're the #1 team in the state in AP's Top 10, and they'll stay that way. That's the final poll of the regular season, final poll of the year.
Congratulations to the Lowell Red Devils. They just had a tremendous season.
You don't get a trophy for that, though.
Yeah, you don't. Something to take home with you.
LaPorte, #10. There you see LC's been dropping. Maryville with a tough loss. Andrean at 6-3, been on a roller coaster all year.
And Whiting just playing very, very well. They just put a hurt on River Forest this week. Wheeler, still only 1 loss on the season, and then the matchup this week.
Chesterton and Valpo.
Yes.
A lot of folks didn't think much of them, especially after week 1.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
All right. When you were trashing the Doolin Wayne. That's kind of every week, though. But
and then the #1 team in the area, as it's been all year. Well, no, not all year long. I keep saying that.
Yeah, not since Andrean lost.
Yeah, since Andrean lost.
It's Lowell. The Red Devils, who've had a couple of tough games, won't get much easier tomorrow night.
No, it won't.
When they open up the postseason at Munster. Time now for the Little 5 poll. Hanover going back to Wheeler. Boone Grove has a new home field tomorrow night. It's Chesterton. And they were upset by South Central.
Yeah.
South Central's wondering why they haven't moved back into the Little 5. South Newton's there, and Winnemac and North Judson.
Judson has had a very good season. I mean, their loss to Pioneer. Pioneer, I think, was #1 ranked in the state of Indiana for by Sagarin, weren't they?
In 1A, they definitely are. And actually, they're pretty high overall.
Yes.
Pioneer, obviously, an awfully good football team. But
kudos to
Judson 7-2, and unfortunately, they're going to end up probably meeting Pioneer again in a couple weeks.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. All right, time to take a time out. When we come back, we'll preview tomorrow night in high school football, hear from some area coaches. All that and more, Wayne's Picks, after this on PFR. We are back on PFR on Lakeshore Public Television. Let's get right to it. He's already got the hat on. It's time for Wayne's World. Well, a lot of games to pick, a lot of games to get to.
Yep, we start out at 6A, Sectional 1. Portage is at the Barrio Grounds, where Lake Central has only lost once. And I like Lake Central. Maryville and Crown Point is a big rivalry.
You're going all favorites, right?
Yeah, well, Maryville's at home, too. In Sectional 2, Section 2, 6A, I would love to pick LaPorte, but...
I think you should have. All right, let's move on to Class 5A, Sectional 9 there.
You got Elkhart Memorial and Adams has a little bit better record. I'm going to go with them. And Elkhart Central and Mishawaka, and I don't think anybody is going to beat Mishawaka in that section. The Michigan City has a bye that week.
That's right. Class 4A, Sectional 17. Let the record show that Wayne tried to submit 2 scores for the East Chicago West Side game, 1 with each winning.
That'll kind of cover my bases.
Yeah.
I like Morton with Snorton back. Highland, could get this one. There's no doubt about it. It's at Highland. But Snorton makes a big difference. And then I like East Chicago over West Side.
And
I like Gavin over Clark.
Class 4A, Sectional 18. You like KV on the road?
I like the Valley, yes. I like the Valley over South Bend Riley. I like Hobart. It's at Hobart. St. Joe's is a good program, but they're just average this year.
That's a 6:30 kick.
Right. And then I like Washington over Clay.
You're going with the Panthers at the Boneyard.
I am. Rensselaer struggled this year. They got a victory over Benton Central last week. But I really like the speed that Griffith has. This could be a very good game.
Could be one of the better games
Yes,
of the
it could.
first week. Could be.
And I like Hammond over Calumet.
You like Wheeler again over Hanover.
I do. Hanover Central and Pete Koulianis' team, they've done a nice job this year. 3 losses only, but Wheeler just has too much offense.
Class 2A Sectional 33. You like
I like River. I do. I like River Forest. I know they didn't play well against Whiting, but I don't think that, 8 of the 9 games Whiting played, people played well against them. And I like Newton over Bishop.
You like
Knoll.
Roosevelt. We're going to ride that Roosevelt. Roosevelt with the upset of West Side Friday night.
That's right. And I think that they're going to, it's a close one, but I think they're going to get Bowman.
They got the city trophy, Roosevelt.
And I really like Whiting this week over Boone.
You like Whiting over Boone, even though
it's at Chesterton?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, exactly.
I like Rochester over Bremen. Rochester's always a good program.
I see what you're doing here. You're
and,
trying to pump up your percentage.
I don't know. Delphi lost to Rensselaer, so I'll take Oak Hill.
You like Lewis, Cass, and Winnemac.
Oh, you got to pick Cass. They're just excellent. And Winnemac. Winnemac really has a chance at this sectional.
Okay, if you say so. All right, 1A Sectional 41. All of a sudden.
This is going to be a good game, Joe.
I think North White might have lost their first game of the year
That's right.
last week.
I think they did. And
but
Pioneer,
you just wanted to pad your stats with Pioneer.
I did.
We know. We know what's going on out
this
there.
next one, I'm stepping out. South Central over South Newton.
Well, I'll give you that. That was somewhat of a tough pick. You like Lake Station to get their first win.
I like their Lake Station to get their first win. They're at home, and the seniors are going to step up. And I like North Judson. I like the Blue Jays.
All right, there you go. We've got games of the night still to come up, so we won't show you those scores yet. We've got the check mark. I couldn't pick the one game because Wayne picked both games, both winners.
Ways.
So I couldn't take one of those. All right, let's see the check mark this week in Week 10.
Well, we'll come back to it.
Well, no, I think we're going to see it right now. I like West Central. I like Knox.
Okay, so Knox over River Forest.
And West Central over Lake Station.
Wow.
I think I've caught you by surprise.
Yeah, you sure did. I'm not sure that I've ever seen you pick the little schools for two of the.
Sure I have. I think you were hoping I picked some of those tougher games.
Well, I thought you were going to pick Maryville. I thought you were going to pick Velpo for sure. You really came out and surprised me. But you know what? West Central is playing a little bit better at the end of the year, and Knox has had a decent season for
a first year in a new conference, which is a pretty good conference.
That's right.
All right, so you're starting to see why I stepped out there.
No, but that's okay.
All right, time for our games of the week. Let's check it out. Who do we got? First one on the board. You like Andrean over New Prairie?
In a close one. I know that New Prairie is starting to roll. I think they've only lost 3, and they beat Jimtown recently. But Andrean has sort of resurrected themselves. Schmidt is back at quarterback, and they're at home.
Nice rematch.
Yeah, it's a
New
real
Prairie's
nice
playing good football right now, too.
Yes.
How about Whiting and Boone?
I really think that this, if Boone had not lost to South Central, and if it was a close game, which it wasn't, I would have really said that this is probably one of the best games of the night. I think Whiting is just on too much of a roll right now, and I think Boone will struggle.
Let's hear from the head coach of the Wolves, Coach Tony Tinkle, right here on PFR.
It's been a good one. We had a couple games that we thought we could have won. The first game with Wabash was a little slow start for us, but we've come back. We wound up 6-3 for the season. It's always those ups and downs, but that's why you play the game. They're a strong physical team, but so are we. They had a really good running game against us the first time we met. Big thing was the big plays. We missed a few tackles and let them have a 40, 50-yard run. That doesn't help us at all. And if we can keep our penalties down, we'll be in good shape.
At the startup of the season, I really thought there's a lot of inexperience, and we've really built on it every week, getting better. And we had a big win against Wheeler 2 weeks back, and we've just really been working hard in practice and making big strides. We got to shut down Martin Petrov again like we did last time we played him, and we just got to do assignments.
We didn't have too good of a game last week. We had a bad game, but this week we're going to come at it. Play like Wheeler, how we did against Wheeler. If we do that, then I think we got the W. I think our running game, we got a really good running back, one of the best in the region, Evan Stewart. I think if our line blocks, we could have a good running game.
Evan's been really good, consistent this year. He had one game under 100 yards, so that's been really nice for us. He just works his tail off. Defensively, he's one of our leaders on the defense and tackles. He's just a true leader on both sides of the ball.
Be waiting on 3. 1, 2, 3, be waiting.
I think it'll come down to who's moving the ball and not making the mistakes and not turning it over.
Rematch of a Whiting win earlier this year, and you like Whiting again.
I do. I really think that Boone Grove has a very, very good team, and if they have all their people healthy, Evan Stewart on offense and defense, but Jack
like
Elby there, on defensive end, and they've got a good defensive and offensive line.
We'll see how they bounce back. Lowell and Munster rematch from an overtime thriller in Week 8 of the high school football season, Wayne. And Munster, Coach Marsh telling us you'll see him coming up, that it'll be Vince Bravo at quarterback again this week.
Well, Jumonville is out, he had said, and this is going to be, Bravo had a pretty good game last week, and I think this is going to be a good game. I think that Lowell certainly will not make the mistakes they did last time, but you got to give credit to Coach Marsh and his coaching staff. They did an outstanding job last time, and they should have won the game.
I got a feeling a prominent running back will be back for Munster, though. Let's hear from the head coach of the Mustangs, Coach Leroy Marsh.
It's been kind of an up and down year for us. We've had our highs and our lows. Some people think we have a bipolar football team. We beat the good teams and lose to some of the less talented, but we've been riding a wave of injuries the last 3 weeks, and that's been what we've been battling the most. We'll have one of our other running backs will be back. We still have a couple, our quarterback won't be back, and a couple of other players, but hopefully we'll get more healthy as the season goes on in the playoffs. Lowell, we're playing the #1 football team in Indiana now, and they're a very talented football team, very experienced, very explosive on offense, and defensively, they're very tenacious. They really pursue to the football. Ike James is he's a real offensive threat. He's a nightmare to some defenses. Last year we played him, he was all over us. 2 weeks ago we controlled him a little bit better. He still ended up breaking away, and you really can't contain him. You try to slow him down a little bit. We tried to work on tackling, better and better tackling, and we did pretty well 2 weeks ago when we played him as far as tackling him. I think it's exciting for a football team. It's always exciting going into the tournament because it's the second chance. We get to play a team that beat us before. Very rarely in life do you get a second chance. And so we do get a second chance. Again, most people would shudder at playing Lowell. I think our kids accept the challenge.
All right, Stangs and Lowell out at Munster High School. All right, what a comeback for Valpo last week to win a share of the DAC. They've got another rematch ball game. It was a 14-7 Valpo win at Chesterton earlier this year. Chesterton and Valpo, again, the great rivalry. And let's see, you're gonna, as we talked earlier, you like cheese.
I like Chesterton, and probably the only reason is that I don't think I've picked Chesterton in a big game yet this year, and I really think that this could be their game.
You like them. Chesterton's defense has been resilient.
Yes.
They've been outstanding all year.
Garrett Slatkoff has been very, very good on the option.
Valpo's defense has been opportunistic and playing awfully well as well.
They certainly have, and their offense has really gone back to scoring points.
You got to like Valpo's mojo coming off
I
that come
agree.
from behind win last week.
Yes, definitely. They can do
they
that.
got to be flying high.
That's right. That's
Tough
right.
mountain to overcome for Chesterton tomorrow night.
Yes, and it's at Valpo with the number one Spirit Team of the Week, cheering them on.
Well, let's hear from the head coach of the Vikings, Coach Coyle, joining us on the eve of his big game.
It was awesome to win a share of the DAC. Obviously, we were very fortunate to come out with a win in a tough DAC game against Lake Central, who does a great job. I was very proud of our kids for being able to stay focused and come back from a 31-10 deficit halfway through the fourth quarter and continue to chip away and not give up and work as hard as they could. I thought our offense at this point in time is doing a much better job of understanding this new offense and feel more comfortable than they did at week 1 compared to where we're at right now, week 10. Chesterton's a great rival. They're a fantastic football team. They're well coached. They do a lot of great things. We're going to have to come out and play mistake-free football and to try and make sure that we come out with a victory against them. You know, to prepare for Chesterton is like preparing for anything else. You have to make sure that you are playing great assignment football defensively. Offensively, we're going to continue to do the things that we've been doing all season long to eliminate mistakes that will hopefully help us to make that offense click even quicker and more efficiently.
All right, we're back on PFR. Don't forget tomorrow night, live, 10:30. We'll have a full half-hour show for you on Lakeshore Public Television. Sectional opener edition of PFR School Board, live at 10:30 with scores and highlights right here on Lakeshore Public Television. Again, some 6:30 kickoffs tomorrow, so don't forget to join 89.1 FM for the Lakeshore Game Night broadcast that starts at 6. I know there's a couple teams locally kicking off at 6:30, so they'll have some earlier game reports going tomorrow night, and they'll be covering all the games in Northwest Indiana.
We got to give some kudos to our correspondents out there also. They do a tremendous job.
And our crew that got the 3 different practices this week. As we hear from 3 different camps as they get ready for the openers in high school football in postseason tomorrow night. Definitely our guys do a great job.
They do.
On
they
89.1 FM of calling in. There's our Facebook page, Lakeshore Prep Sports. Don't forget, go on there and post a message. Send us a message. Vote for the Spirit Award winners of the week. Let us know how we're doing. Follow us on Twitter at PFR Sports. And you can email us at sports@lakeshorepublicmedia.org. We got a big night high school football coming up tomorrow night in Northwest Indiana. We'll see you at 10:30 on Lakeshore Public Television, but at 6 p.m. on 89.1 FM for all the radio updates in high school football. Good night.